Alright lads, welcome back to another video. This is obviously not one that I would have been preferring to make, but it was probably one that I always knew I was going to have to make one day. I mean, at the end of the day, I have been going on about the fact that I just know Kevin Nisbet's going to leave sooner rather than later, so if it's going to happen, let's embrace it. Let's chat about it, see what I think about what teams he's been linked with, who he's going to end up going to, and the quotes that have been batted around in the last sort of week or so that have led to a lot of discussion around Kevin Nisbet's future. Let's dive right into it. Now, Kevin Nisbet obviously transferred from Raith Rovers, the wee team, and joined Dunfermline Athletic, the big team, last summer. He had scored a barrel load of goals for the wee team in League One and did really well for them, to be fair, and got his move rightfully to the premium side in Fife, Dunfermline Athletic, and continued to score goal after goal after goal, racking up 23 goals in total in all competitions in the 2019-20 season that was prematurely ended, so he was most likely going to get near enough 30 goals in the full season overall. There was always going to be speculation about his future, and there was that in January just there. He was linked with both Dundee United and Hibs, who both put in bids in January, and we ended up turning them down. Dundee United's bid apparently was more easily turned down than Hibs, and that probably came down to the fact that Dundee United were still a championship team at that point and we didn't want to sell him to a direct championship rival. It was clearly a much easier prospect to sell him to Hibs, who may or may not have offered more money. I'm not entirely sure on the exact figures that were offered back in January, but it was clearly an easier sell to go to Hibs, and I think Kevin Nisbet has now come out himself and actually said that he would prefer a move to Hibs overall, and he certainly preferred that back in January. Now obviously he wasn't allowed to move in January from us. We rejected both bids from both Hibs and Dundee United, and Kevin Nisbet stayed with us and continued to perform well. He's a professional player and his attitude can never really be questioned, because every team he's played for, he's always kept that professionalism up and played for the jersey that he's wearing and scored goals basically. Or at least ever since he moved to Raith Rovers. Of course his career wasn't as lucrative before that period. But the most important thing in this is that Kevin Nisbet did really want to use us as a stepping stone, I suppose, and go on to better things in his career. And I don't think any Dunfermline fans have really been that delusional to think that that isn't going to be the case. He's going to move on, and he's going to move on to bigger and better things in his career. Even if he does move on to either Hibs or Dundee United, he will most likely move on to something even bigger and better than that in his career, because he's such a fantastic football player who has ball skills as well as finishing skills. He's almost a complete striker in my opinion. He can head a ball, he can shoot, no doubt. He's got, as I said, the ball skills to go with it, he's got good technique, and he's got a good footballing brain in him. And that's obviously been a massive turnaround from his early days at the likes of Partick Thistle, etc, etc. When he went to Raith Rovers, he seemed to have a complete turnaround in his career, and now he is, as I said, pretty much the complete striker. So I suppose that's what any team that ends up getting Kevin Nisbet's services in the near future, that's what they can expect if they do end up signing him. Now the teams that are interested are, of course, again, Hibs, Dundee United, and a couple of teams from down south. I have heard of interest from Stoke City, for example. And now, since recording this video, there's been reported interest from Portsmouth, another team from down south. Those are the type of teams I would have expected to be interested in Kevin Nisbet once again this summer. Obviously, Hibs and Dundee United coming back in is no real surprise. If they were interested in him 4 or 5 months ago, they wouldn't have lost that interest within that period of time, especially with the season prematurely ending. There was no reason for their interest to get any less in that period of time. In terms of the down south clubs, they're obviously most likely going to have a bit more money behind them, and the likes of Stoke City, could they offer more money than Dundee United and Hibs? On paper, I would expect them to, but doesn't necessarily always materialise, because sometimes teams from down south tend to want to look at our league as a bit less quality, so they feel like they can offer a bit less money because of that. So it could work both ways with that one, and it really does depend how much a team down south really wants a specific player. So if Stoke City want Kevin Nisbet, just like Hibs and Dundee United, Ross MacArthur, that's the Dunfermline Athletic chairman, has made it clear that we want the best asking price we can get for him. If we don't get the price that we are looking for, then we're okay to keep him for the remainder of next season, because his services could end up providing a bigger monetary value if we end up getting promoted, for example, either via the playoffs or via the normal route of automatic promotion. And whilst I don't entirely agree with that statement, I don't think we're actually saying that we will go into next season with Kevin Nisbet. I think that quote has slightly been used to push a sale in a way, almost start a bit of a bidding war in a way. So hopefully one team would come in and we'd reject it, and then another team would see that someone else is trying to get his services, so they'd come in, put a bigger offer in, yada yada. You know what a bidding war is. So overall, I think that is what's going to happen. I think there will be a bidding war with Kevin Nisbet, unless one team comes in with a fantastic offer initially and we simply can't turn it down. I don't see us accepting a derisory offer, which I was quite fearful of us doing when we obviously released the amount of players we did the other week. Even though half of them were youth players, I was quite worried about the club not being able to get the full value for a player like Nisbet, now that we'd obviously shown that we were in a slightly lower financial situation than other clubs. But it is good to hear that at least Ross MacArthur is making it known that he wants to get a good value for Nisbet. He wants to get the market value for an asset such as him, because it's probably the best saleable asset Dunfermline have had in a good amount of years. We thought players like Ryan Williamson were going to be a good saleable asset, and then he ended up moving on for a free to Partick Thistle. At one point, Hibs were interested in him as well, so there has always been interest in some of our players, but none of them have really made the grade to actually be worth a good amount of money. At the end of the day, I think the last player to really go for a transfer fee was PJ Crossan to Celtic, and that was quite weird at that time as well, because I think PJ Crossan had only made 3 starts for Dunfermline at that point. So Kevin Nisbet actually being worth something in this market could really improve our chances next season, especially when it comes to building up the squad again and bringing in quality additions, because even though Kevin Nisbet would be a fantastic addition to have for next season, as he was this season, he would no doubt continue to score goals in the Championship next season if he was with us. The money that we get for him, hopefully we could plough back into recruiting more young players, and hopefully trying to do the same as we have with Nisbet, bring a player in and hopefully be able to sell them on for a better value in the future. That's kind of what every club wants to build themselves around, especially the lower league clubs. They want to bring in assets and sell them on after building them up and training them to then become a better player and worth more to the club. So it's pretty obvious that Kevin Nisbet is going to be going this summer. My bet would be, sadly for me, on Dundee United. And yes, a lot of Dundee United fans watch this channel, but that doesn't mean that I want everything to be cushy for Dundee United. I don't want to see Dundee United taking another one of our players straight from our hands, especially our better players. Of course, in the last few years, our better players have been the likes of Paul Mullen. That'll be Paul Mick Mullen, Nicky Clark, Fraser Aird, and they've all went to Dundee United on free transfers. Now, yes, this one would be a bit different, and there would be monetary value involved, and we'd get something back for the services, but to see another player join Dundee United just wouldn't be as suitable for me. I would perhaps rather see it not be yet another player leaving Dunfermline to go to Dundee United and us almost being a feeder club for them at this point. But I'd like to get your thoughts on this whole situation, because Kevin Nisbet's future will most likely land away from East End Park at this point, and it'll be interesting to see what people think about where he should end up and what he is actually worth at this point. Take into consideration the stuff I've said in this video, and we can have a chat about it in the comments below. So that is it for this video, guys. Cheers for watching. If you did enjoy it, please give it a like. As I said, comment down below your thoughts on the whole situation with Kevin Nisbet. Subscribe for more of this type of content, and until the next video, I'll see you then. Cheers, guys.